Micah, David Moore, Dallas Morning News. Just know it's still early, but from what's been put in and your conversations with Mike Zimmer, how different would you say your role would be this year? Is it really just the same and just going about it differently, or
I would say it's almost the same. Me, Mike, and Paul, even Trayvon joined this morning on our early meetings, just going through install, going through what we're putting in and things like that. And as you see, I'm going to do a little bit of both, just like I have been in the past. I think the personnel and the packages is good, and now that we got more understanding of each other, I think it's going to be a great year.
You think there'll be a little more linebacker, or is it too early to say?
It's really too early to say because, you know, when you get the games, you can say, oh, we're going to call this, so many times, and then, on 2nd and 7, 2nd and 6. But, if a team's at 2nd and 9 and this is more of a pass rush down, then, the circumstances change. So it just depends on the game, I would say.
So just based on your conversation, on rundowns, they may use you more at linebacker.
It could be. He didn't get too specific on anything. We just putting in the personnel right now.
How do you feel? What kind of shape are you in? There's so much talking. I saw you on Twitter saying you're lighter than you were last year.
Yeah. I just weighed. I was 240 pounds. I'm back into my college weight. I think, I kind of, want to do more, want to get more into that do-it-all conditioning as well. So when you got 10 pounds off you, it's a lot easier.
I know you bulked up to handle the pounding at the end. Mm-hmm. Now you're lighter again, but you'll still be rushing and dealing with that pounding. How do you think that's going to affect you?
Well, I'm gonna be all over, man. At the end of the day, they gotta find me. That's what I train for. There's some days I'll go into the gym and do 500-600 reps. It's that muscle endurance, that conditioning that you're training for, the long haul. Great trainers and great people help me understand that, more weight doesn't always mean a positive thing. So it's just how you train.
Like the Tyron Smith again, what are you lay out goals in front of you when the season starts, like certain numbers that you want to hit?
Yeah, man. I think, the goals of mine is always obvious and always it's always to be the best in everything I do. So that's always leading my team to playoffs, win the Super Bowl, be the best defensive player in the league. And usually when you do all those things usually follow suit. So I just got to take one step in front of the other, take one game at a time, dominate, do what I have to do, get a win, go to playoffs, and all that stuff will add up.
John. What do you – oh, sorry, John Sherwood with The Athletic. After you guys drafted Mazi Smith, you had high hopes for what he could be at defensive tackle. Now, his second year coming in, what do you think that Mazi can be for your guys' defensive line?
Well, it's not what I think he can be. It's what Mazi has to be. When you get to this business, it's no more of a choice or a can. It's either you will or you won't. And, they usually try to find someone else to do it if you can't. So it's what Mazi has to be. He has to be dominant. He has to be a force. He has to be that guy for us. That's why they drafted him in the first round. You're not getting drafted in the first round not to be a productive talent, not to be on the sideline. We drafted him to be in the game, and that's how much confidence I have to be. I don't expect Mazi to do anything. It's what Mazi has to do at this point. And, that's why I'm in his corner. I'm rooting for him. I'm hoping that, try to get him better every day, pushing his conditioning, pushing his limits. Because, we need Mazi to be strong. We need Mazi to be that great force. He can be a dominant player. It's just if the will and mindset, and that's why we're all here.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. Malik Hooker had said some things about you during a live stream, and then I think you've talked to him. So how have you resolved your issues, if there were issues?
It's just one of them things. It is what it is. People doing their free time, that's what they do. I know what I do on my free time, so make sure you hop on the edge if you got a chance on Monday or Tuesday nights. What he does on his Monday or Tuesday nights when he's not in the building, that's on him. What I do, that's me and my business and my family. So, I'm going to keep it at that.
He has said that you guys talked it out because there might have been a misunderstanding of him saying what he said.
No misunderstanding. It's plain as day what it was, So it is what it is. Everything was said, and I just wanted to move on and get ready to the season.
Saad Yusuf, The Athletic. Micah, in minicamp, you talked about with you and Zimmer, you guys hadn't had too much time yet. How has it been with him personally, his style of coaching? What are your early kind of reviews on Mike Zimmer?
I think Zim's completely changed from what he was back in the day. Now, I haven't seen him in game day format. The intentions and the emotion is way higher, but so far, all our conversations been, very great, very simple, very open, very transparent, very much what can you do, how good are you at that, what positions he wants me to be in and things like that. So, I think his coaching has been fabulous. His scheme has been amazing. And I'm actually very excited to be in this scheme. I think this was definitely a blessing that we went and got Zimmer. He decided to come back.
For 3 years, you only had one defensive coordinator in the NFL. Is it different from Dan? And is it something that you feel like you can work with as well?
I think what Zimmer's able to get out of his players is no different from Dan. I think Zimmer's starting to open up to the guys and be more open with us, and we're getting that bond as camp will go on to get better and better, and as the season will go on. But I think it's still going to be a very good year, even without Dan. I was blessed to have Dan for 3 years. He still checks in on me. That's still like my big uncle, someone I love very much dearly. But today, I got a job to do, and I just kick his ass twice a year. So, we could hug afterwards.
Nick Harris, DallasCowboys.com. You responded to some criticism a couple of weeks ago on Twitter of somebody saying that your production kind of tails off in the last few weeks of the season and the playoffs. You said you're going to be ready this time. What kind of goes into the preparation of keeping that production high as the season goes on?
I actually don't think my production drops off at all. I think teams do a great job at game planning. I'm still, I would say one of the most feared players in the league, if you look at it. It's just more that I just want to be better for myself. I owe it to the fans, my teammates to be better, to put more commitment into this and do better as a whole. I take accountability for when we lose. I take all those losses very personally. Anyone who knows me, anyone who's close to me, know I hate to lose. I can't stand to lose. I don't even like when games are close. So when we do lose like that and we do lose that whole, I take that personally. Even if I feel like there isn't more I can do, or if there's, no matter what my emotions is, I have to find a way to feel accountable for that loss and find a way where I can lead these guys better. So, there was tough conversation between me and Mike and me and the team, and where they want me to step up. So, I said it has to start now. So every day I walk around the meeting, I make sure everyone has their notebook. I make sure everyone got a water bottle. Because like now, to me, there is no excuses. I want to check every box of everything. So that way no one feel like they're behind. Everyone feels strong about their playbook. Everyone feels strong about where they are, where they're at in the defense. I want everyone to feel like it's going to be a great year, and that when we get to playoffs, there's no hiccups. Everyone feels strong about, what their position is, what their role is, and be dominant in their role. And there's no man left behind. So this year is going to be a great year.
I'm Micah Parsons with NBC DFW. Mike said this morning, speaking of the motivation from last year, that he's trying to put the Green Bay game away, put it behind you all. But at the same time, you spoke about the 49ers game a lot at the beginning of last year. How much has the Green Bay game motivated you this offseason specifically to try and help this team take that next step?
That was the last time I stepped on the field. I think, for me, it should motivate you. And, I think, it's bad to just throw games away, like that and say, oh, they're not there. I think that's a little bit of delusional. I think it's more of you should be happy that game happened. You should know what that failure feels like. Embrace that failure. That's what makes you stronger. Think about anything that's ever hurt you in life. You're like, okay, this is what it is. I accept that. Now, how do I never make this happen again? That's what champions do. That's what, winners do. You embrace those failures. I embrace that loss. I wholeheartedly open and admit to that loss, and I take that loss in, and I use that into my training. when we was down deep waters and everyone was looking around. You know, you got to train yourself and remember, like, what's your why? What's the reason why you're doing this? And, you know, when you're training hard and you're tired, you think about that loss. You know, you think about those times where you were tired in the game and you wish you could have gave more and you were just loafing around and you didn't do that. That's what those losses and those failures do for you, and you need to embrace that into your training and even in your season. You know, you should. I mean, I would have LaFleur's picture in my locker all year if I could. You know, I can't wait to see LaFleur again. You know, that's the type of motivation that you should have when you take a loss like that, or any loss. You know, I take every loss personal. I don't see that, you know, that perspective.
Mike Ducey, Fox 4. There's been so much talk about potential contract extensions. How do you feel about your situation in that regard? And all things being equal, would you like to be a Cowboy for your entire career?
You know, I think when you talk about, you know, career and legacy, I don't think there's a better career you can have when you're playing for the Star and you have a chance to be the best with the Star and retire a Cowboy. You look at Witten, you look at Michael Irvin, you look at Emmett, you see they're still in the community, still active. The Star holds so much weight and the legacy that brings. Look at Charles, he still bothers me in the locker room every week. You know, it's nothing like wearing a Star when you do it the right way. So in terms of, you know, being here, I want to be here my whole life. I plan on building a house here and being in Dallas forever. I love this city. I love the community. I love for what it stands for. And to be honest with you, you know, I always told you guys, you know, that the contract stuff will always take care of itself. You know, winning games is what I need to take care of, and I focus on winning games and making plays and getting sacks, and then, you know, Jerry could meet up with the agent later and they handle all that other stuff. I don't know how that goes, but I'm on my first deal, and I know I got 2 years left here, so I'm gonna try to maximize those as much as possible.
Bill Jones, CBS Texas. What's it like working alongside Eric Kendricks, and how important is he in getting Zim's defense?
Yeah, EK probably don't know this, but, you know, I look up to EK greatly. Back when, you know, it was him and Anthony Barr, and they were dominating in Minnesota. Not that he's not in his prime, but when him and AB were, you know, young savages, you know, it was always great to see, and what they did and what they accomplished. That was one of my Madden teams growing up. So, you know, I look up to him, and then seeing how intent he is every day. It's great to have that veteran leadership. You could tell how much he's lifting up Damone and how he's lifting up the other guys around him. And it goes back to how much we missed Leighton last year. You know, I was playing ping pong in the special teams room. I was like, damn, I miss you, bro, because Leighton was like my special teams ping pong brother, and I miss him just being out there on the field with him. You know, it's always sad when you see a brother have to retire because of injuries or anything like that. So, you know, just having EK here and getting that veteran voice in here is, you know, one to really be amazed by, and we're grateful to have him.
AJ Doyle, KRGB. Micah, what's it like not having Tyron Smith here for the first time to go up against in practice on the offensive line?
It's a happy and sad day, you know, for sure. Knowing you don't got to deal with Tyron's hand grip of death hands, and knowing that you don't never got to worry about a man gripping you up to the point where you want to scream is it's always a happy moment. But, you know, obviously I was blessed with 3 great years of how much better he made me, how much, you know, I learned from him, and, you know, the knowledge he had, it'll be irreplaceable. He's a Hall of Famer in his own right. You know, he's kind of one of where I wish he retired a Cowboy, regardless, you know, how long he's been here. It's been absolutely special to have him. He was my welcome to the NFL moment. So, you know, extremely blessed, and, you know, it's sad not to see him. And you could tell in Zach's face he missed having his road dog around. So, you know, it's definitely a sad day, but, you know, I wish nothing but the best for him.
This is a quick follow-up. How can you kind of return that favor by passing along the knowledge to the young rookie Tyler Guyton?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can't teach him too much. I can't have Tyler dominate me, but, you know, against fellow pass rushers around the league, I'll be more than welcome to give him tips and help him make his own way. And as D-Ware and Tyron came into the league, and, you know, how D-Ware, you know, if you ask D-Ware, he dominated Tyron. If you ask Tyron, you know, it was back and forth. And Will McClay, I wish I could see the footage, but it'll be one of those things where we feed off each other and make each other better every day.
How much do you think Trayvon missed all this
Trayvon Diggs?
Yeah.
Oh, greatly. You know, Trayvon is someone, he's so smart and he's so intelligent. And I think you guys made him a little mad. I ain't never seen Trayvon do some of the things he do now. You know, the work he's putting in, the dedication, coming into meetings and, you know, absorbing as much knowledge, him and walkthroughs, how serious he is, how committed he is just to getting back. I can't wait to see him back on the field. When you got a playmaker like that, lockdown corner, definitely a top 10 corner in the league, without a doubt. I just can't wait. And you could tell he misses. He's itching to get back. He comes up to me every day. He's like, just wait until I get back. You know, he's swaying. You know, his confidence, everything's high for him. So it's going to be a good day when he's there.
Can you give us an illustration? You're the second guy I mentioned smarts first with him. How that displays itself?
I think, you know, people underestimate Trayvon because he's quiet and he's a little bit like a toots, you know, and he just kind of like bees in his own world. But he's I would say if you watch how much film he watches, you know, even today I was like, you have incredible notes. Like your handwriting's really good. Like it's just like his detail and his work and his craft. I don't think a lot of people would expect that to him because of how he acts sometimes, but when it comes to football in his own right and who he is, I don't think you're going to find someone who competes more, someone who's going to put more into it. He loves the game of football. You know, I was at his house going through his ACL. We playing the game, and he's talking to me about games, when we're losing, when we're winning. Like I said, Trayvon, he's like my brother. So, you know, I was with him through it all. He's like, bro, I can't believe I wasn't walking 5 months ago. He's telling me this while we're running drills on the football field. So I couldn't walk 5 months ago. I couldn't believe that. I couldn't even get out of my own bed. And, you know, to see where he's at now and then to see when he's back on game day with me, you know, I might have, you know, a tear coming down my eye because his growth, you know, and even his, you know, faith, you know, and we were talking about faith in God. He's like, bro, I needed this, you know. And I think this was his testimony. This was his test. And it's going to be great for him.
What's a toots?
A toots is someone who's just like real, like Lucy Day. He walks around just, like he just, I don't know how y'all call it, but like where we couldn't call him a little toots. Like he just be, you know, like his head be down, he be like, so like that's just him though. And you know, I just love him for who he is.
Last one, David.
You were talking earlier about Tyron Smith, and just even though you caught him near the end of his career, after practicing with him, how many, if any, better guys have you gone against on other teams than what Tyron was even late in his career?
Even late in his career, Tyron's a top 3 offensive tackle. I mean, if you're talking about a left tackle, you can only put Trent Williams, who's towards the end of his career and still pretty dominant, still one of the great ones. And then you would say Laramie Tunsil. You know, he's a super veteran, but outside of those 3 guys, they are like the epitome of like what you want your career to be. You know, Laramie had that little BS in the beginning, but he's been tremendous so far in his career, and he's been great, and he's kind of like following suit with those guys. But, you know, Tyron, to me, he was the best tackle in the game of football last year when I'm practicing against him. The way, you know, at 30, he still had a 6-pack, you know, and with surgeries, after surgeries and all. So, you know, and his grip was nothing ever phased. He was still fast. There was the whole year he didn't give up a sack until, I think, what was it, week 15? I mean, something crazy like that, and it probably wasn't even his fault, you know. He's just so great, man. I've never seen, even when I'm watching him on offense, I've never seen someone get the best of him. I like it. And it's so hard, so tough to get the best of him. He's so smart, and he's just so good. And, man, it's truly been a blessing to share the field with him.
All righty. Thank you, Micah.
Yeah.